They just want you to sit in your chair and go, hip hip hooray, for the Western press and the Western narrative, regurgitating the same old, every single day, without this. Please watch the first series, the first 2 episodes, the second series. Look at that.
Absolutely fascinating.
And it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Hi everyone, it's Monday. It's a great day actually. First, I hope you all said white rabbits this morning. 3 of them. Because it's supposed to bring you luck. Have Liverpool FC had any luck today? At your white rabbits? But anyway, I just want to mention these wonderful people who sponsor the Frank Carlyle show. It's got painting services. And believe you me, these people are fantastic. Don't struggle trying to decorate your house, trying to paint your house, wallpaper it or anything. Outside, inside, they do it. And if you're an NHS worker, you get a special discount. And if you're elderly, again, a special discount. Please don't struggle. Let these lads come in and do it. Just do it. Let them do it for you. As I said, they're fully insured. They're not only fully insured, but they're fully time served. They're not cowboys. They're not cowboys. Just get them in. That's Gap Painting Services, the sponsors of the Frank Carlyle show. Every single podcast I do, they sponsor it. They really do. Good people. They're good people. I've got Anthony with me tonight, I think. He doesn't know about all the trolls I had. But I've got news for you. Jason's going to make his moderators. So any sort of comments like that I got, which were absolutely disgusting. Disgusting. That's all I'm saying. Vile, disgusting comment. I can take criticism. We've been brought up to take criticism, but not vileness. Not what those 2 people were coming out with. And they always go under a pseudonym. They always go under a pseudonym. It's the way it is. It's the way it is, unfortunately. But anyway, you'll be moderators, which is good. Callum, Isak is coming, Frankie. Yeah, he's signed, hasn't he? He's had his medical, he's had this, he's had that, so, which is great news. And Myra, the lovely Myra's with us. Hi, Frank and friends. Hiya, Myra. Hiya. And she says, history is made every day and you are part of it. We're all part of history, aren't we, really? We are. If you make a comment, what's going on in the world, you're part of the history. You're part of the history, Byron. So you're 100% right. Good shout, that, actually. Very good shout. And Callum, Mark Gee signed. Well, I was told that the deal was off just before. See, I've always said you just wait until you see that whoever was signing has got a shirt up with his number on or his name on, showing it to the press. That's when you know. For sure. I've said that all along with all the speculation. So I don't know, we could have done for all that I know. Been looking at it, and I said just before I came in here, it said one of them, Isak signs, Gee, whatever his name is off. And Barry says, why has this not been done earlier in the window? Loan them Gomez till January. Sorry evening, Frank, says Barry. I know it's history now. Thank you, Barry. No, but, you just say what you need to say. You know that. And Steve, my old mate, says, I hope Sally gets his mojo back soon. So do I. It's terrible yesterday. But that's Mo, he's allowed, what he's done for Liverpool Football Club over the years, he's allowed to have off games. He's allowed. You're getting the people say, he's finished, and, the usual nonsense. Christopher, Isak definitely done. Gee on the brink. Gee. It's like a laugh, isn't it? Gee. Ambidextrous. Callum the Red, she says, we finally got a defender. Well, it's all over now. The window's shut, hasn't it? The mince pie man, Tony. Now then, Frankie. And pints for Frankie. And a thumbs up. Hiya, Tony, mate. Hiya, mate. Bella Italia. Buonasera, Franco. And everyone, hope you're all well, says Bella. Yes, they're all well. They're all on a high because of Liverpool Football Club. They're all on a high. Well, we're all on a high. And she says, hi, Anthony. Hope you're well. And Johan. Oh, yeah, look. Is it Bella's moderator? I've just noticed that. And Johan. Good evening, Frank and Legends in the chat. Hope everyone is well. I just noticed that. Brilliant. The moderators are here. George Seth. Good evening, Frank. I am shocked and disgusted at anyone being vile to you. Power to you, Frank. Thank you, George. George, I don't know whether you're seeing what they were saying. Disgusting, honestly. I said to one of them, if you were standing here next to me, I'd be strangling you back. Honestly, and I meant it. I'd strangle you. That's how bad it was. But thank you, George. Ambidextrous. Look, moderator, ambidextrous. Even a Frank up the Reds. Yes. Christopher. If Liverpool have put a data sheet on the Gay can still sign in the next 2 hours. So he hasn't signed, has he? You know, according to Christopher there. He hasn't signed. Scottish Bear moderator. Hi Frank, hope you're well tonight and chat. Thank you, Bear. The new moderator. Toscana, moderator. Ciao Franco. Ciao everybody. Hope you're all well. I think it's pronounced Gayhi. Thank you. Gayhi. Thank you. But I just look at the bloody name, you know. Gayhi. Thank you, Toscana. That's why you're a moderator. Ah, lovely, Lynn. Even if Frank and Anthony, hope you're both well. Hi, chat. She's lovely, Lynn, you know. She's a lovely person. And the Bear. Frank, we have mods. No more trolling. Thank you. Exactly. Exactly. I told Jason, you know. And I think he looked at what was said. I think he went on him. And he done it right away. You know, to get the mods on. And as you said there, Bear, no more trolling. And as Lynn says, good God, no nasty people like you, Frank. Yeah, it's the way it is. And Chris, that's correct, Toscana, Gayhe. But we haven't signed him, have we? I just found out how to pronounce it properly. And we haven't signed him yet, if you sign him at all. But I was told just before I came on here that the deal was off. That's what I was told. I'm going to bring in me mate, Anthony. He's been sitting there patiently. We haven't had a chat over the weekend, strangely enough. I've been busy, you know, crying my eyes out over those trolls. Thinking about it. Gary the Rigby. Even if Frank and everyone in chat. Evening, Gary. And we will probably sign him in January. And I'm going to bring in this wonderful friend of mine. And there he is. Good evening.
Good evening, Frank. I am so sorry, man. I didn't know what you were going through. Was that Friday night or yesterday?
It was, I think it was Thursday.
Wow.
Was it Thursday? I don't know. It was one of the nights. And it was shocking what they were saying, Anthony. Really disgusting. Vile. Really vile.
Do you think it goes back to the tosser that started a couple of weeks ago?
No.
Because he had a friend.
No, these were, you know, these stupid names. No, it wasn't. No. Telling you, no, it wasn't. And what they were saying was absolute Gostel.
I'm so sorry you had to go through that, mate. You know my feelings.
The people, the chatters, they were absolutely tremendous.
I've been sat there and forgive me, chat. Good evening to you all, and thank you for looking after the man. Because normally we have a gap every other night or every night, but we haven't for a while. I've been pottering, doing clean, and I was watching the programs as well. I was watching, and a really emotional one the other night. I think it was Thursday when you were talking about SAS, and then Scottish Bear came in with some of his background, which I was just so humbled by. And Scottish Bear, I if I had a hat on, I'd take it off. If you had a wig on, I'd take it off to you. Well, I have got a wig on, but I'll take it off later. Just sensational, and you, but much love and respect to you and yours. And
talking about wigs, I had these old ladies, there's loads of them. They all came. They wanted to go with Frank on a walk, so they hired me. And I went into the town hall. So but it was windy out. My hair was all over the place, And anyway, and they were all looking at me, and I said, "Is my wig okay? Is it straight?" And there's an old lady in the front, and she went, "Can you just move it over that way, Frank?" So I said, "Is that all right?" She said, "Yeah, that's okay."
Oh, that's brilliant.
I had to wake up.
Who got it? Yeah. Oh, gee.
And Steve, me over. Elliot has gone on loan. Yeah, no, that. George said, "Good evening to you, Anthony."
George, good evening to you, dear sir.
And ambidextrous. Hi, Anthony. Hope you're well.
Good evening, ambidextrous. I am well indeed. I'm just feeling a little bit guilty for not. Normally, Frank and I are on the blower every day or every other day, and I'm sorry he's gone through that. And we sound off together. We resolved the whales by calling all the bad guys out. And Christopher, thank you, and good evening to you.
And Christopher, hi, Anthony.
Yeah. Hi, Chris.
Tony. Evening, Anthony, and two scotches, as usual.
Tony, don't you ever get Anthony? I got Tony all my life, my choice. And when my mum died, 2005, I said, that's it. She named me Anthony for the reason. And that kind of became, and it was easier then because we were doing work and it was getting more high profile. So, yeah.
Do you know, like when we were like 14, all of a sudden girls appeared, within the mind. Honestly, I wonder, I don't, they might be listening in, I don't know. I'm going back when I was 14. And there was a girl named Flo Duck. That was her name, Flo Duck. And, she's a lovely girl, lovely. And honest to God, she had a brother named Don. Honest to God.
Oh, no.
Don. But they used to call him, what's it they call him? He said, "I don't want to be known as that," and he changed it. I don't know. He never changed his name. He just said, "Will you call me Jimmy or something? Jimmy Duck."
Yeah.
Donald Duck.
It's crazy. And the Catholicism kicks in at some point because you're named after saints and whatever. And the number of ladies in our family and outside who were christened Mary and immediately changed their name, something like Mary or Marie. You think, why?
It is, Johan. Good evening, international artist Mr. Brown and Scottish Foyer.
Good evening, Mr. Kindness himself.
Mr. Kindness, yes. Jesus, you don't need them tossers, says Lynn.
Is right, Lynn. Absolutely right.
And the bear says, hit the like button and subscribe for Frank. Thanks, everyone.
Brilliant Scottish. Good one, man.
And he says, Scottish says, hi, Anthony.
Hi, Scottish Bear. Much respect and love to you and yours.
And there's a Scotch for you.
Oh, wait. Finest way to start the evening.
And she says, evening, Frank and Anthony.
Good evening. TW74.
And George says, Scottish Bear, a Japanese Akita, brilliant. I had one with the exact colouring, a beautiful, loyal dog. He was with, and I don't know, her name was Spliffo.
Oh.
Toscana. Hiya, Anthony. Hope all's well.
Hi, Toscana. All is good. I am in the absolute most wonderful company, and I hope you're good too.
And Tony answers you there by saying, I was christened Tony, Anthony, obviously, but get called Anthony by a few. So I think all Tonys are Anthony.
Yeah. I used to dread being called Anthony when I was younger because my mum only called me Anthony if I was in serious trouble, and then it would be Anthony. School did, but I hated school and thought nothing of it. But it's wonderful how we adapt. Lots of people know me as Anthony and lots as Tony. And even if you correct them, it's up to them. I'll answer to either or everything.
Well, I get called Francis anyway, off the family especially. And a few friends, actually. Yeah. A few friends, they call me Francis.
Yeah.
Because it's, obviously they've just got used to my family calling me Francis, so they just call me Francis.
It's historic. It's a name you were given. It's
yes.
Historic.
Yeah.
If we were given the name of Shirley or Yvonne, then we'd probably drop that somewhere.
Or like John Wayne, Marion.
Yeah. My God, no wonder he turned into a tough guy or persona.
It's like a song, isn't it, by Johnny Cash? Call Me Sue.
Yeah. Guy named Sue.
A guy named Sue. Brilliant. And Stefan says, good evening, Frank. Having a whiskey to your health. Good to see Anthony. We hope to meet the artist soon as well. Yeah. I should have invited them over, actually. I should have invited them over because they were here on Thursday, and they were going away. They were going back the next day, because they come over to Liverpool. Beatles Week. He loves the history of, and he wants me to go into collaboration with him to write a book, history book.
I think that is absolutely brilliant news. Stephen, it'd be a pleasure to meet you.
There you go, Stephen. So you're on there. And George says, family and names are strange. My granddad was Geordie. My dad was Geordie, but my mum insisted I am George and nothing else.
Wow.
That's mad, that, isn't it? She must have been fed up with Geordie now, wasn't she? She's getting George and he's not sticking with it.
It's like that joke, isn't it, when you walk into a pub or in a family sitting room when everyone's there and shout Geordie, and three heads turn round. It's like, which one? Little Geordie, middle Geordie, big Geordie, you know.
You know what? I was watching only a little clip. It came on YouTube. Coogan, Stephen Coogan. And you see him getting out of it was one of his shows, but you see him getting out of his car in a car park. And you see like down the way, another fella getting out of his car. And he looks like, and he goes, Dan! The fella doesn't take a blind bit. Dan!
If he played him
going on for ages, Dan. That's right, Dan. So funny. What a man.
Well, that's the other side, isn't it? With actors who don another persona.
Yeah. It's so fun. And Toscana says, breaking news, Liverpool have got till 9 p.m. to sign Mark Gahey. There we go. So let's see if we sign him. And do you know what I want to show you? I need to show you this. And all our wonderful historians. I've got to show this. And this has fantastic history behind it. And the people who are on there now will actually love this. Oh, Dorothy. Lovely to see you, Dorothy. I don't know if you ever saw the green grass, a spin-off from only... seen it. Dorothy, did you ever see that clip of Steve Coogan in the car park? Dan! What's going on? The fella was thinking, no, so he's just walking away wherever he was walking. It was so funny. Funny. Honestly. Let's just do this. People are going to love what I'm going to show. Even you, Dorothy, you're going to love this, what I'm going to show. Stefan says, is it not interesting that... I'm sorry, but I've got to take these off. I hate wearing these reading glasses because they're so heavy on my nose. Is it not interesting that St. Anthony was a follower of St. Francis of Assisi, did his first miracle, the preaching to the fish in Rimini? Frank probably knows. No, I don't know. That's new to me. That is new to me.
Once again, Anthony is a big follower of Francis.
Yeah. Yes, St. Francis.
2005.
I wanted to go to Assisi when I was old, but it was too far and, it was taking up too much time. But I would have liked to have gone to Assisi. Hit the like, says Gary. Thank you, Gary. You're going to like this, people, what I'm going to show. It might look much, but me and Anthony know about it. And some of you. Dorothy. There was a scene in the pub where when the family visited a local hostelry, and they came in and they were all farmers and border collie sat in there, and And to a man or girl, the collies all raised their heads. Absolutely hilarious on screen. Great writing by the script writers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, see, border collie.
Wow.
How about this, people? Well, I'm going to show. How about that?
Oh,
Post house.
beautiful photo.
Now, the post house,
Oh,
I'm made up to say this actually. Proud as well, because remember Freddie O'Connor?
I
Remember,
do.
it all came tumbling down.
Wonderful, wonderful man.
And he rang me up
Yes, sir.
and he said, Frank, he said, can you get down here? I said, get down. And this was in the morning. I said, get down where? And he's, Cumberland Street. And I said, what for? He said, get down. So I said, okay. See, with him ringing me as well, and that time of the morning, and get down, and it must have been important. He wouldn't tell me over the phone anyway. He gets down there. And what they were doing, and what you can see, people, right next to it, you see new builds. It's sandwiched between two new builds. Two new builds. And he wanted to pull that down to carry on with the new builds. And I gave, when I got down there, I was talking, whatever it was, and talking to these people and the history behind it, the history behind the post house. And I said, people don't realise the significance of this building, the significance of the characters that actually went in there for the beer or whatever, a wine, whatever. Who were they then? That's what. So I said, well, put it this way. I said, I deliberately mentioned this fella. I said, have you ever heard of Nathaniel Hawthorne? No, who's he? Who's he? And these are supposedly intelligent people who's supposed to be in the know. And I said, Nathaniel Hawthorne. I said, well, he was an American consul here. He went, oh, really? Okay. I said, but not only that, I said, he was an author. And he wrote the Scarlet Letter about, a community of Puritans, the Scarlet Letter. And it was a letter A in purple, a letter A for adulteress. So I got their attention. And I said, he used to come in here and drink. I said, and also used to come in here and have a drink. I said, you've never heard then of Nathaniel Hawthorne? He said, no, until just now. I said, have you ever heard of Charles Dickens? And he went, oh, yeah, everybody's heard of him. I said, well, he used to come in here. He used to come in here and have a drink. I said, so if the likes of Nathaniel Hawthorne and Charles Dickens coming here, who else is coming here? Who else has went through these portals? And I was outside and I was shown, the portals themselves, like the entrance. I said, that's the same entrance. I said, who else was going through there? Great men of Liverpool. Great men of America. Great men of Europe going through there. I said, I'll tell you another fella who went through there. I said, have you ever heard of Dr. Livingston? He went, honestly, once said, He says, "Is this before the national health?" And I give him a look of contempt. I really did, and I just have. I wanted to say so. And I went, "No." I said, "Dr. Livingstone," I said, "do you ever remember I said, "Look," I said, "find out yourself who this fella was." I said, "He lived in Liverpool, by the way." So they said, "Oh, okay then." I wouldn't tell them for spite, because I don't like that. It's though they've never done anything. They just like getting told things. So anyway, I said, "I'll give you another idea of a fella who came in here." They said, "Who's that?" I said, "Adolf Hitler." And he went, "Oh, go away." I said, "Adolf Hitler came in here. Adolf Hitler. That's a drink." I said, "So you take all those people." I said, "But also what you've got to take into the consideration," and he wants to knock it down. I said, "Soldiers who came in here and had a bevy in both World Wars. You could even go back to the Crimean War."
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, and never came back. And they're going to destroy this, pull it down to make modern housing. For what? For profit. That's greed. It's greed, and they want to pull it down.
Crazy.
So anyway, it was saved, put it that way. It was saved. And this is the thing about certain things, Anthony,
Yeah.
The historical value. We had the White Mansion House, as you know, up in Calderstones, and they wanted to pull that down. And again, they didn't realise the significance, the historical significance of that, because they just thought it was there, it was in the way. Beautiful mansion, by the way, but they just wanted to pull it down. It was in the way of progress. Their progress was to build flats again.
I know.
I had theirs as well, and anyway, it was saved because they said, "Well, why is it important to the history of Liverpool?" I said, "Well, I'll tell you why it was important." I said, "It was the ancestral home." And again, they didn't know. It was the ancestral home of Sir Spencer Perceval. And they went, "Well, who's he?" I said, "He was a prime minister. He was the prime minister of the British Isles." And he went, "Oh, yeah." I said, "But you don't know what happened to him, do you? Because you've never heard of him." "No." I said, "He was the only British prime minister ever to be assassinated." And he went, "Oh." So that surprised him, and that grabbed him, that grabbed him. Yeah. I said, what has happened was, I said, it was a Scouser who shot him. At Parliament.
Yeah.
And he was surprised. He was surprised. And I said, what you want to do? I said, you want to try and get some local history behind you, especially about buildings.
Absolutely.
And what was happening to buildings.
Yeah, absolutely. That's become what you've said there tonight. And I know we've talked about it before in the past, but it's never more important or valid than what you did with Liverpool 1. And fortunately, they had a wonderful man who was in the leadership, Liverpool 1, who was accessible to some, but also he had ears. And I'm talking about Rod Holmes, Mr. Holmes, and it didn't need the bling and the stuff that councillors were thrown on. He just wanted to know factually what this area meant, what this street meant, what that building meant. And you told him. And that's why Liverpool 1 is built and adapted these streets and buildings, and also the names, which are important. I think it's a valid point that Liverpool is important to us because we're proud Liverpoolians. Any city in the world needs a local historian to be on the board of town planners. And when some muppet says, oh, we're going to knock that old building down, we're going to put this there, you need the realities of history to say, you can't knock that building down.
Yeah.
Why the
I mentioned about, Livingstone. You've got to understand that some of the people, Stanley as well, you've got to understand how significant, like, Liverpool was, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And, these people here.
But I can say that all of us, me and Chatton, all of us, is at a point where we can plead ignorance because we didn't know, because we're never taught. We're never taught local history in our local schools. But as soon as you're reminded of a individual or an event that goes on with that, then you absolutely get it. Again, I think there should be a historian on every council platform.
And do you know what? I remember a policeman, I forget his name. And like when the Queen came down to open Liverpool 1, Rod said to me, I want you to go. I said, I don't want to go down, please. I want you to be there. He said, listen, you've given names to this. You've been fantastic over the, giving the history out and whatever of the certain areas. He said, you've got to. So anyway, I went down. I had to be honest. And it was incredible, to see the crowds down there.
Yeah.
And when I was there, I said to Rod, listen, Rod, I said, what we've built over here, and it was, it's the park, it's the park.
Yeah.
I said, you should have made a bigger window. I said, down the little thing that you look down and see a few bricks, I said, and if the sun shines on it, I said, you won't be able to see it. And I said, has the Queen had a look at it? And he said, no. I said, and lots of people can't see down there. I said, you should have made a big. He said, we'll get that done. Unfortunately, he never got it done. He didn't do it, in the end. But then again, these councillors having a clue, and even I was talking to, I forget his name. He was, it wasn't Betterson, that prick. It was, I forget his name. And I was talking to him, and he came up to me. Now, he'd been to one of my lectures. And he said, can I have a word with you? I said, yeah, sure. He said, would you like, he said, here's what he said. He said, could you bring a group of my, he actually called them freshers, like university, new policemen on the beat. He said, would you bring them around? He said, because they have to know the history of Liverpool. He said, it's no use, like, stopping crime if you know nothing of the background. I said, yeah. And I brought them around and it was great.
Yeah.
But I don't know what happened to the funding because they were going to set up classes, but they wanted me to do the classes. But I don't know what happened. It never materialised, unfortunately, because those policemen who came around with me, they were made up.
They would
They
be.
were absolutely, they said, this is brilliant, this. And this should have been done a long time. This is what they were saying to me. And councillors, I said it to councillors, remember when I said about when I brought these people around and, you know, the capital of culture, but they were also local councillors. And they didn't realise that we had this castle.
No.
And they said, where was it? I said, have a guess. And one of them said Duke Street because dukes built castles. And, you know, so it's things like that. And they will preserve the likes of, you know, the likes of that. The likes of that. They just say, no, that's not coming down. Without the likes of me or anybody else trying to save them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know. We're all allowed a certain degree of ignorance until we know facts. But if you work for the city council, you should know the facts.
Of course you should know. I'll go on to this. I'll just go down what the ambidextrous preaching to fish. That's what she says. I mean, we're preaching to fish. I was anyway. And she says, like and subscribe. Hit the like, stroke, thumb up. Thank you, ambidextrous. She's our new moderator. Well, there's a few moderators now. And George says, oh, Frank drank in there a few times. Great tables, bar in there, as I remember. He's made up, you know. So, again, it's just the history of behind it. People don't realise who's gone in and who's come out of there. You know, after the drink.
That brings to mind another thing. If we do a virtual pub tour on some of the pubs that are still there in Liverpool that contain that history. You know, the hole in the wall we talk about, we love, but there's others. We could do a virtual pub crawl on there with the history background to whatever one. I remember the pub, which is still there, the Baltic Fleet on the waterfront. And at the time I started to work in the area, I worked for the publishing firm for a while. It was run by a guy called John Meakin, who was charged and had to go to court for supposedly biting a lady on the bum. So he goes to court. This is the characters of Liverpool. This is what we live. So this is about 85, 86. And I'm sure some of our lovely chat will remember them. So he goes to the court buildings, and he's riding a white horse. So he goes to the horse, on the horse to the court, gets off, goes in, loses his case. But it's like, oh my God, who in the world would do that with his...
Exactly. A white horse as well. A white horse. Oh, the lovely Daniela.
Yeah.
Hi, Frank and Anthony. Good evening, everyone. Assisi is a magic place. The energy inside the basilica is so strong, you never forget it. And that's Daniela. Daniela's from Milan. Milan.
Stephen's wife.
She was in my home. Yeah, she was in my... I wish you would have met. I should have just...
Yeah. Next time.
Should have got you, given Lainey to come over.
We'll bring the cakes.
Do you know what? They brought cannoli to me. Cannoli. cannoli is one of the best desserts you ever liked. And I ate a lot of them. They brought 3, one for each of us. I never give down. It felt terrible.
Wow. I'd love to hear more about the things you're planning. The book.
Well, they're coming over anyway. They'll be back.
Yeah. We'll be over there this week to see you.
Will you? You say that, you don't come over.
I know, but we will. Ladies out the back. But Thursday, Friday, we'll be over there.
Excellent stuff. And Stefan says, in medieval Milan, the monks of St. Anthony kept pigs. They were marked with a tau sign. They could go around without worries. They were sacred. Well, that's like India, isn't it? Do you know what else is sacred in India? And you're not going to believe this. And it's horrible. I've seen footage. And there's a massive temple, and you see these fellas sitting down, these Indians, and they're just sitting there like that with these things over them. And then the footage moved to like these loads of Indians, just people, and they were looking into like a pit and all these things, and I'm talking, do you know what they were? Rats.
What?
Yeah, right. Well, that's where they originated from, wasn't it? When we started sailing around the world, for trade, finds a new, exploring trade links and whatever, got to India. When the ships came out, they tying the thing. They used to run up the rope onto the boat. Wow. And when they came to port, they used to run down. So we got rats all over the world.
Wow.
India. That's where they originated from. I don't know whether people would know that.
I didn't know that.
I should have seen these fellas. They were like priests, what we call priests. And they were just sitting there outside this temple. And they were running all over them, everywhere. It was sickening. I just went like that, turned it off. I said, I can't watch that. I hate those things.
I hate them too, and but it's a thing that it's a cross-cultural thing, isn't it? We've never experienced what you're describing. But we do it with cats and dogs and hamsters and horses and whatever else, Wow.
Oh, there's my lovely friend Karen Kariakou. Good evening, guys, and all the listeners. Are you, Karen?
Good evening, Karen.
Karen, when are you coming for this bloody paper? Got this paper for you. She knows what I mean. And Dorothy says, my brother taught me, my brother bought me Freddie O'Connor's book, It All Came Tumbling Down, a brilliant record of Liverpool streets and buildings before clearance, an excellent social history resource. Mm-hmm. You're right, Dorothy. He's a smashing fella. But I've had a couple of phone calls. Well, he's passed on, but going back then because he was a friend of mine, and he rang me up one night. It was around tea time. He said, Frank, do us a favour, can you get down here? I said, what for? He said, Rigby's, not Rigby's.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rigby's. It was Rigby's. And he said, can you get down here now? I said, what for? He said, just come down, please. And I said, I can't. I said, I've just got in. because I'd been teaching, during the day, and I just got in, and she wasn't in a good mood either. So I said, come down. She said, I'm not going with you. What do I want to go down there? I said, okay. I said, do you mind if I got, no. So anyway, I went. And what it was these Japanese, and they were filming Liverpool. Not the telly I've mentioned, before. Two different channels that, I gave a documentary to the different channels on the alternative days. But this was actually a film. They were filming. And he was one of the most famous actors. And they had me, going. They had me going in. This is into rugby. Yeah, they said, well, can you walk in? And I'm, doing that, bowing, the way they do it. And they had me sitting down, and they're all talking. And I'm looking, they said, just look as though you're understanding them. So when someone spoke, you look like that. They said, nod your head. So, nod my head. And, look that way. Yeah, shake your head. As though I was understanding them. And they were actually making a film. I don't know what it was about, you know what I mean? And one of the girls said to me, one of the Japanese girls who was interpreting for me, she said, this was not half tall. Japanese, that's tall he was. Very, slim. And he was one of the most famous actors, in Japan.
Oh, wow.
I never got to see the final cut, you know what I mean?
Oh.
Never got, but that's Freddie O'Connor for you.
Yeah.
It's Freddie.
Yeah, brilliant. I remember speaking to him about, because he gave me a disc of photographs, that he collected, and he was talking about someone bought him a camera. No, when we were kids, and it's with me, it was always music. My mum and dad bought me a guitar, and that was it. I was off. But someone bought him a camera, and he walked the streets because he came from our background around Scotland Road and stuff, and he walked the streets just taking photographs of the big, busy buildings, Tate and Lyle, the tobacco warehouse, all of these buildings that he knew as a kid they're going to pull them down. They'll be out of fashion. They will go out of fashion and they'll pull them down, because this must be in the mid-60s, something like that, when the new was all streamlined concrete. Everything was shiny and red brick and new, and everything else was old and had to go. So, and that was the basis of his book.
Really?
Yeah, he and Freddie used to walk the streets taking photos.
Yeah, but he did the pubs as well, didn't he? He did a lot of pubs.
He did. Scotland.
And when you mentioned about the pubs,
and then,
I'm sorry, go on.
I was just going to say it became a concept, an idea, a valid idea, as you yourself have had, and someone else hijacked it and put it out in book format.
Yeah, plagiarised it. And I couldn't do it then.
Big time.
I couldn't do it. Shocking.
Yeah, it's shocking.
A few things have happened to me like that. But anyway, someone said to me, I'm going back a few years ago, and said, hey, Frank, he said, would you do a pub tour? Given the history of the pubs. So I said, well, I'll only do it around Dale Street and Castle Street, and like the cabin walks. I said, so we could go along. And he went, yeah, okay. After a while, I was reluctant to do it because so anyway, I did it. started off at the Ship and Mitre.
Yeah.
Right. Then to
The Excelsior.
yeah, the Excelsior. I always forget the name of that. But anyway, we went to the Excelsior. You know, by the time we got to the,
But
I was like,
I would.
you know, a few days later, I was telling them, man, like telling someone, they said, you're not supposed to drink. You're only supposed to stand outside telling the history of it, you know. No, I'll tell you where we started. We started in Dr. Duncan's, you know, in St. John's Lane, and then walked down to the Ship and Mitre. And
yeah.
oh, blimey, I thought you went sitting as a bevy. And we stopped it.
All over.
Stopped it. I was in a terrible state.
That's
I don't drink, like, you know. I said, I can't go, I can't go.
We bounce ideas through Jason. And then we'll do, like, pick 6 boozers or that have impacted the city over well before we were born and are still doing the business now, you know.
Yes. Look at that.
Brilliant. What a photograph. What an image. What a photo.
And, you know, when you see that, it's not only, you know, iconic, and it's had the nickname, the Dockers umbrella, because when it did rain, they used to just go underneath it to keep out the rain, hence the Dockers umbrella.
Yeah.
It was the very first in the entire world, the very first electrified overhead railway in the entire world. The very first, the only one. And the likes of New York and Chicago, theirs was just steam. But we had a steam one underneath it, you know, the flat part of the overhead. And it's such a shame. And do you know what? No one knows who designed it. I know. But you know, when you talk about it, and you say people thought, you know, when I say, like, who's you think, do you know who designed it? And a lot of people said, Isambard Kingdom Brunel. I said, no. I said, he was well passed on, you know, he well passed on before this was designed and put up, structured up. So anyway, the fella who designed it was Sir Douglas Fox. And Sir Douglas Fox, it was great the way he went in and presented himself, because why it was put up in the first place, if you could imagine the amount of ships, now don't forget we had 7.5 miles of dock, and all these ships coming in, you know, for trade, even passenger ships, because they weren't being left out, you know, liners. And the traffic was becoming unbearable to control. It was shocking, because they were coming from everywhere. And they really needed to get something to be sorted out for the congestion of the pier head, especially. The 7.5 mile of dock, you know, not just the pier head.
Yeah. And
so anyway, they held a competition, and no one came up with that. And Douglas Fox did. And he went in and he did a spread in front of these gentlemen. And he said, this gentleman is a railway in the sky. Oh no, before he opened it up, he had, you know, under his arm, obviously. And they said, well, what's your idea? And he said, to put a railway in the sky. And they thought he was nuts. A railway in the sky, that's how it looked to them. Can you put a railway in the sky? So anyway, he spreads it out. He said, "Yeah, this is the thing." So he has a look at it, and he went, "Wow, okay, do it, do it." And it was the very first, as I said, electrified railway, but it also had signals, electrified signals, because everything was manual. And the staircase, especially at the Seaford Sands, instead of like just using steps, they used the very first electrified escalator. Think about that. Escalator, which was phenomenal. Listen, I'm going to, if Jason's there, can we have a break? I'm trying for a cup of tea and I'm very thirsty. I never brought me water in.
Okay.
This is the original Thomas Steers' 1715 dock wall, the first in the world. The reason why it's so special, between 1709 and 1715, this became the very first wet dock that controlled the tide and the water of the Mersey. 100 ships could easily fit in the dock itself. And this was the beginning of Liverpool's enterprise, maritime enterprise around the world. And it was the beginning of the dock system. And through Liverpool 1, this particular wall is preserved. Up above, there's a porthole that shoppers will be able to look down because the history is at their feet. Liverpool is built on sandstone, and where I'm actually standing is the seabed, again, sandstone. Just imagine the original wood and the original cobbles have survived since 1715. After all these years, the masons' tomb marks are still here. Just look at the sheer size of this. This is preserved for future generations. It's our heritage, it's Liverpool heritage, and it's world heritage. Hang on, I think I better move. I think a ship's coming. Here's some great Liverpool firsts that many people don't know about. Because you think of all the firsts there.
Brilliant. I love it. Love it.
It's surprising, isn't it? Like when you think about the very first telephone exchange.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think that has happened here, would you? That's it. There's so many firsts. It's many firsts to come out of Liverpool.
Very empowering to receive the knowledge that we did that. I know growing up, I remember my mum and dad saying about things which were before my time, so I didn't witness them. And then when you and I became friends before then, because we used to listen to your shows, and it was like, it's always been, wow, And so many of us went to school and education and didn't know and weren't reminded of these things, which is crazy. You'd think the city in the world you'd be proud of, wouldn't you, to tell the kids?
But there's no local history in schools.
No.
There's none whatsoever. I used to get invited along to some, I even went to, when James was at school, I went along there. To give a talk. And the teachers didn't know, because he's got a different name, you see. He's got his dad's name, obviously. And he said to the teacher, I was going along, and he said, there's a historian coming, and his name is, And James said, he's my granddad. They all just looked at him, the kids looked at him. So anyway, he was sitting there, and he went like, granddad. Loads of them, loads of little man kids.
Yeah.
Granddad. Are you James?
That's brilliant.
It is, but as I said, none. The kids, I brought in, I used to have an OHP, overhead projector, and, showing the likes of these, the castle, and showing different things, and they were amazed at what was here.
Yeah.
It's just like now, some things, Anthony, being shown, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'll just say this, the likes of this, for example. Ollie James, and they were filming the liver birds outside the Adelphi.
Oh.
And there's the big house there.
73.
Yeah. You see what I mean? It's things like that. Look at that. Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah, just stunning.
And
there's the detail of the gulls in the tailspin of the. Yeah.
If you look at that, in the background there, the church is St. Nick's Church. That's on the waterfront.
Yeah.
And the history surrounding that. Don't forget, it was the site of the first public church in Liverpool. After the castle, and it was called St. Mary del Keys. The keys like of the waters.
Yeah.
Not the lock, keys of the lock, as it was in the castle. And what happens in 1812? The bell ringer was ringing the bell, and there was 14 children from a charity school. He was attending the service, and it was by the, the tower that held the bell. And as it was pulled, just collapsed and killed them, killed the bell ringer, killed the kids. So they built that tower that we can all see today in 1815, and the most significant, especially in British history, really, the date 1815 And it wasn't the year you was born, Anthony. It was the Battle of Waterloo.
Yeah.
1815. And to think that these pictures are so significant, if you know what I mean. Wonderful pictures.
So historic.
Oh, yeah. I'll show you this. Look at that. And that was sent in by George Seth, who's on our thing.
That's brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. What a wonderful historic memorial.
That's unbelievable, isn't it? And it's the beauty of having memorials. I'm sorry. You might as well say that. Oh, jeez, my eyes are killing me. It's giving you a history.
Absolutely.
It's the history of wherever, the likes of Belfast.
Yes.
Harlands and Wolff. Yeah. Incredible shipyard that built the Titanic and the Olympic.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic. Fantastic.
Sensational. The power of art when it works.
Yes.
Oh.
And again, by George Seth. And as it says there, you are never too old to set another goal. And that's right. You're never too old. I have always said, we learn every day. We learn something new every day.
Yeah, we do.
And people, you're not going to believe this, but can you see a bandstand?
Yes. Yeah, on like a tower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you know who played there? Well, you don't know. Shall I tell you?
Yeah.
And it's brilliant who played there. Now I didn't know that he was putting these up, because they're new to me. He just said, he sent me a text. He said, I put some random pictures. I said, okay. But that bandstand, who used to play there with a clarinet? Because where the people lived, that's around Solver Street.
Yeah.
Have you any idea who lived in Solver Street?
I've got a bit of an idea. I mean, my dad's family were all born in Everton, but I've got a bit of an idea of the chap that you might be talking about. But I'm saying nothing.
Okay, because they formed a little band, to play like whatever music, if you know what I mean. Yeah. At the time. Yeah. It could have been jazz, it could have been anything. You know what I mean? Like the 20s stuff and whatever. The Charleston, whatever music it was. And it was Paul McCartney's granddad. Paul McCartney's, that's where they lived. And do you know Paul McCartney's granddad? Do you know how he made his money? He used to go down where I lived, where like I grew up, and it was a place called Richmond Row. Yeah. And there was a warehouse there. And it was called Breen's. And it was a tobacco and cigar warehouse. Not warehouse, warehouse. He used to go down there to get tobacco and to make cigarettes. And also, whatever you make cigars out of. And that's what he used to do. Make cigarettes and cigars.
Oh, fantastic.
And Remember the swimmer, Mark Spitz?
Yeah.
7 gold medals. His nephew phoned me up and he said, I'm sorry, to disturb you. I got your number off. I said, yeah, what do you want? New York, he rang me up. And he was talking about, he said, do you know who lived in Solver Street? And I said, yeah. He said, can you tell me? Because he was testing me. So I mentioned about Paul McCartney, but he was the only famous person I knew who lived in Solver Street. And then he started, because he was writing a book about the Beatles, but he was writing about certain individuals out of the Beatles, right? And giving them their background and what they did or whatever. And he said, can you tell me at all anything about them? I said, well, there's a bandstand there. And on that bandstand, I said, McCartney's granddad used to play a clarinet there. He was in a little band, a little local street band that they formed together, and they used to play every Sunday. It was a tradition that they played. And I told him about the cigarettes and the cigars, and he was made up. But, a few other things as well.
Yeah.
The history that is, especially around the area itself, the likes of what you see there in both pictures is the lockup. Now, lots of people, and it's called even today, they don't realise it's a lockup. And they say it's Prince Rupert's castle.
Yeah.
Rupert's castle. But it wasn't Rupert, because he only had Rupert had his officers there. He just took over a little building, a little house, a cottage or whatever. And that's why it's called Rupert's Hill, to be honest. Yeah. So anyway, that particular lockup, they said Rupert's castle. And they think that it was Rupert's, where, he built it. And also that he dug deep and went down to the pier head, where what we call the pier head. He dug a tunnel. And I just say, how could they build that, dig a tunnel all the way down? They were only here from the May, 18 days they were here. How could they do that within 18 days? And there was no such thing as pneumatic drills or anything else like that. I said, there was nothing at all like that. I said, so how could they make tunnels down to the pier head? And, dismiss the silly myth, to be honest. I said, and by the way, that wasn't built because Rupert was here in 1644. I said, so he was nowhere near it. I said, and that lockup was built in 1787. So from 1644 to 1787 is a long thing.
Yeah.
And he said, well, what was it used for? I said, it was used for prisoners. That's what it was for. I said, mostly it was there for the drunks. If there's any drunks in Everton, they used to just lock them up there for the night. I said, but it was mainly for people, condemned men on the way to the gibbet in London Road. You see how myths are formed? It's so easy. Then Chinese whispers take over.
Yeah. I know, but it's something you said a few months ago, and you were relating the story of your doctor who had been replaced by his daughter.
Dr. Connolly.
And your nan told you a version of a story.
Yeah, about his ear
and
getting chopped off by the Japanese.
Yeah, and your daughter told you.
He said no. He said he did his ear in a car crash. Well, so it's like myths, isn't it? Because it wasn't the war.
I love the bottom line is when you went back to your nan or your family member who told you the story, says, think about, I didn't happen. You told me this is the truth. And he said, but what I told you is a better story.
That's what she said, doesn't sound better. Because he was in the army. He was actually fighting alongside. Well, he wasn't fighting. He was looking after them. The partisans in the Apennines, the Italian partisans.
Yeah.
Because they allowed them to escape. You know what I mean? Because they are the Italians and these like little prisoners of war things. They weren't interested because they were fighting side by side just in the First World War.
Yeah.
So, but it was the fascists, you see. And he was looking after. He was treating them for malnutrition. He was treating the wounded as well, of the partisans, if they were wounded, and also delivering babies. Going into the towns and delivering babies. And he was a very proud Irishman. Flaming red hair he had. And they were going, there's the Englishman. And he said, no, I'm Irish. But he got captured again by the Germans. But he was brought to... and the irony? He was brought to Berlin, right? So he had to last out the rest of the war. And anyway, when they repatriated back home, in 1945, he gets off at Lime Street and he was in practice with another doctor, Mr. Goldberg.
Yeah.
And he gets off Lime Street Station, Dr. Connolly, because he was a big man. And he walked through. Now, if you could imagine being a prisoner for a number of years in Germany, you're going to lose weight, if you know what I mean, whether they fed you or not. So as he came through, he was standing there, Dr. Connolly, and obviously overcoat, a hat, trilby. They all wore trilbies, didn't they? And you seen Dr. Goldberg looking around, looking for Dr. Connolly, because he knew that he was getting off the train. That particular time train. And he was standing right next to him, looking around at people, coming off the platform.
And he didn't recognise him?
Didn't recognise him.
Oh.
And he said, hey, it's me. And he just got out. He was only little, Dr. Goldberg. And as I said, Dr. Connolly was a big man, big, tall Irishman. And he just threw his arms around, around his waist, put his head on his chest and cried. He just cried. And he said, you're not going to believe this. And he said, what's that? He said, our practice was bombed. He was a good doctor, the pair of them were, to be honest, because you had to pay people then, people had to pay the doctors. And what he used to do, he used to see these waifs and strays. He used to see kids, terribly undernourished. He also seen kids with rickets and, certain things. And he used to look after them. And sometimes he used to leave threepence, because threepence then, in the silver coin, the threepenny bit came later, didn't it? So he used to leave a threepenny bit Well, not a threepenny, a threepence silver coin on the mantelpiece so that they could get a meal in for the kids. That's how good they were.
What a heart.
Yeah. Yeah. Lovely people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's some of the most profound things that happens in Liverpool with great people. Adopted Scousers.
Yeah.
Adopted Scousers.
Yeah.
It's lovely. Stefan says, their fat, this is the pig, their fat was used to heal skin diseases in the first great hospital built by Francesco Sforza. The rest was to feed the lucky monks. They're the pigs. And TW, sounds like Gahey is staying at Palace. Yeah, as I said, when I came on, got told that it was off. And Bel-Air. What a fantastic building. You're right, Franco. The history of the building and the people that passed through the doors. You can feel the historical atmosphere in a built, yes, you can when you're in there.
Yeah.
Especially when you know who actually stood at the bar, who actually sat down. Incredible. Bella says, Franco and Anthony, it makes my blood boil when I see a beautiful historical building being pulled down. Yes. So you can imagine me, Bella. You can imagine me. I fume at it. Oh, sorry there. It's just sad. It really is sad. Do you see that ship?
Yeah.
Do you know where that is?
I don't know where it is. It looks like a mosaic, rather than a painting. Yeah, it is mosaic.
Yes. It's in Castle Street, the mosaic. And the top one, which is framed actually, same mosaic.
Yeah.
Someone must have took a picture of it and frames it, got it developed or whatever, which is great. And that's the Great Eastern. Because it was birthday at Isambard Kingdom's Great Eastern.
Yeah.
It became its home here. And the Great Eastern, do you know when passengers wouldn't go on it, Do you know that? When they first went on it, everyone was saying, oh, that's great. But with them having like funnels, it was just in case there was no wind.
Wow.
If you know what I mean. So they used the steam and the sail. And the sail was always down. Just in case the wind dropped or whatever.
Yeah.
And there used to be sparks coming out of the funnels. And it set fire to the sails, these sparks.
Wow.
And people were terrified. And that's why they wouldn't go on it. This is on the Great Eastern.
Yeah.
So when they built it at the pier head, they were trying to find a place for it to, to work and whatever. And believe it or not, they did find a work for it, and it laid the very first transatlantic cable. The very first transatlantic cable from here to America. Isn't that brilliant?
Absolutely brilliant.
And the likes of this, the original Philharmonic Hall, where the Philly is today.
Wow.
That was the original one. Beautiful building.
Yeah. And the church at the rear, wow.
Yeah.
Myrtle Street Baptist Church.
Yeah.
Wow.
Myrtle Street. Incredible. I love this. And this is Church House, the corner of Lord Street and South John Street.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was bombed, unfortunately. It was bombed because South Castle Street was destroyed. You had Castle Street that, we know and love today. But people don't realise that, where Shabas Park is, Victoria's Monument, Victoria's Monument and the Law Courts. It was absolutely incredible because when you look at these particular buildings, they were all destroyed. So Castle Street and the war, the May Blitz, along with. So we said it wasn't destroyed really. The Custom House.
Yeah.
And it wasn't destroyed. And when you look at that 1680, it's all stone. Everything is stone, and you had to get you had to ask permission of the government or the establishment, whoever it was, to build homes or to build buildings from stone. Stone. The only building that could be built without the use of stone, well, two really, was a government building and a church. A church. Stone. So you had to ask for permission. Now in 1565, there was a terrible, it's known, it's documented as the Great Storm, but in fact it was a hurricane. And it hit Liverpool, causing terrible devastation and death. And people were maimed. And the mayor at the time was John Cross. And this was on the 23rd of December 1565. And he gathered them around. And he said, don't leave. Let's build Liverpool up again. But let's build it from stone. And that's what he did. He built Liverpool from stone. He said, let's build it. So it became the very first stone township throughout the country. Stone, not a village or anything, because that's another myth. People say that it was only a little fishing village in, 1700. I said, no, it wasn't. It was a township, just a little town. And what you've got, the top picture is the what I just mentioned there, the custom house, the 5th custom house. And it opens its doors in 1828. And the architect was John Foster Jr. Beautiful building, hard as nails. And where you see the dome there, an incendiary went through there. And, it did destroy, or not destroy, but gutted. It did gutter the 2/3 of the building itself, the custom house. So they said pull it down. But again, it was corruption. They could easily have saved it. So they pulled it down in 1948. And look at underneath it. It's lovely. You've got the Hilton Hotel and whatever there in Shavas Park. But wouldn't you rather have that there?
Yeah.
The custom house.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Trying to find the bloody thing. Can't get it. Anyway. I'll just go through some things here. And Bella says, thank God we have someone like you, Franco, that tries to save them. Turkey is back to the Turkey. I was talking to a lad who is going there today. I was talking to him today. Stefan, Anthony, you are right, but we can easily say that Liverpool changed the world. Our modern era began in Liverpool. The Industrial Revolution was born in Liverpool. Spot on, I've always said that. And she says, sorry, Frank, the gay deal is off. It's the way it is. And Freedom said, does anyone go to the Kashmir nightclub in Wolstenholme Square? It was beautiful Art Deco style nightclub with an orange octagon dance floor and lots of character. Got knocked down in 2016.
No, I never got in there, Freedom. No,
me neither. It just shows you, though, doesn't it? What we've pulled down, what we've just, destroyed, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Change the fashion.
We did. And George said, imagine how beneficial the overhead railway would be today now that everything have moved down to the area. The traffic congestion would be saved. It's ridiculous, you see, George, because people were saying, don't pull it down, but unfortunately it was greed. And in some cases, corruption. Because people were going to make a lot of money. A hell of a lot of money. Yeah, Callum just said, no, Mark, gay. Frank, the cannoli were all for you. They were only 3. I found it absolutely gorgeous, Daniela. Sorry about that. Cannoli. Loved them. And Toscana, you're right, see. Sky have just confirmed that Liverpool submitted a deal sheet, but Palace pulled the plug on it. Steve says, it's great to see a lot of old pubs being renovated and having a makeover. Yeah, because when they were opening up all these wine bars, I was saying they're getting rid of the pubs and they'll be sorry.
Fashion again, fashion. I mean, one of the greatest pubs is around the corner from the Philharmonic, which has just been reopened, which is John Lennon's old boozer. Is Ye Crack.
Ye Crack, yeah. Yeah. You see, I couldn't call that my local. Been in there a few times, but I couldn't ever say, you know, it was a local of mine because it was out of the way.
Yeah.
Well out of the way. I'm dead tired, you know. I can't get any sleep.
You've not done the whiskey thing yet, or have I drank it all?
Well, Francine was supposed to come for shopping. That's why I've been up since 4 o'clock. I wake up at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I can't go back to sleep. And it's hits me now.
Yeah.
I thought I might be able to do the show, to be honest, because I was tired coming in.
Well, got to look after yourself before anything else, Frank.
Yeah.
So you've got footy on tomorrow night?
Yeah, football, yeah. Talking about what's gone on.
Yeah.
And Christopher says, now that's a proper history tour, Frank. He must have been talking about the pubs. I was asked to do, you know, I say, no, I don't do them. No, not doing any of them. And Steve Mulholland said, Cameron have a pub heritage tour sometime this month, starting at Dr. Duncan's.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stunning photo. Why did we get rid of the railway seat? Don't know. And Lynn there says, just think what a tour. But it was back then, Lynn. You can like see old posters. And it give you the price of like 1.6 or something to go the length and breadth there and back of the whole of the railway. You get on at not Lime Street, I'm sorry, Pierhead, the main one there. You got on it and it took you that way and back again. And it's sad. And Stephen, Frank, what do you think of the decaying roar of buildings from 1903 on the south side of Renshaw Store? Yeah. Yeah. Excuse me. A great feat of engineering, Frank. It was, Dorothy. It was a great feat. Another interesting show as usual. Love all the facts and firsts, says Carol.
Yeah, me too, Karen. Yeah.
And Lee Brady. I was there today, Frank, at Everton View the Kids. Someone a few years ago metal detected around the lockup, found all kinds of interesting things. Oh, go away. The lockup. And Dorothy says, was it Joseph McCartney, his grandfather, Frank? Yeah, had 9 children. And John Paul McCartney was born in 1900, Paul's dad, yeah. The 5th of 9 children.
Yeah.
That's it, Dorothy. Spot on. Spot on. Spot on. Simon, perhaps if successive governments adopted the Norwegian approach to use natural resources to invest in infrastructure, our essential services, we wouldn't be a basket case. Would Russia or China allow it? No. Exactly. Got to join BRICS. You'll all have to join BRICS. And then carries on by saying, we as a society are allowing our very history to slip away, historical buildings just rotten and decay before our very eyes. We all have an opportunity to pressurise our politicians to stop this happening. Yeah. Pressurise it now is impossible, to be honest. I tried to save Commutation Row. And Mike Story was the leader of the council. Nope, that's it, bang, pull it down. And yet Commutation Row was the only commutation that was commuted from tax. And that's why you had these Georgian buildings were all being bricked up because of the window tax. And what was it, right in the middle of it, which is so, was the very first blind school.
Yeah.
Very, very first in the world, 1792, Edmund Rushton's blind school. No one had ever opened up a blind school to help the blind. Shock. Karen says, Frank, how do you remember so many dates and information? Incredible. I'm starting to forget things. Photographic memory, to be honest. Karen. And Simon, we as a society are too focused on greed and turning our cities into concrete monstrosities. We need to use our vote in all elections to get the right people elected who care for the city and the country. You can't do it because they're all promise things.
Yeah.
And nothing materializes out of the promises. It's all empty rhetoric they give us, empty promises. If we have people who love our history, love our culture, love our architecture, we can turn the page before it's too late. But there has to be a will and determination before that becomes too late. Yes. Yes. Look at the way don't even remind me of that. Can't even read that out. But you're right, it was even Tingwall. Ken Dodds wanted to buy it.
Yeah.
Let's pull it down. I'm just going to read a couple of more because I really have to stop them going here. Simon, yeah. Dorothy says, the church was replaced by Art and Design Centre in the 60s. There's a very good article called The Church of Hope, Hope Street, by Velvet Hummingbee. Velvet Hummingbee. What a name that is.
Yeah. Thank you, Dorothy. Try and check.
Yeah. Yeah, there's the thing there to get onto it. Thank you, Dorothy.
Yeah.
There's a fellow by the name of William Hope. He had a mill. And he was at a milliner. Not a milliner, a miller. He was a miller, so he did bread. And that's who it's named after, Hope Street, because of his mill.
Well, what a fantastic name. All these years later, the cathedral on either end, you couldn't call the street anything other than Hope.
Hope. It is a fantastic name. Oh, Peter Brown. Even in Chance, I always forget the Liverpool's twins were called. Yeah. Are there any events to commemorate or celebrate? Not really, no. Oh, there's lovely Peace Poppy. Who are the right people there? In lies the problem. Exactly. Exactly, Peace. Poppy. Second question, comment. I can't say this. Put up. Hang on. Put up job booting all. Proper upset me that. 15-year-old girl. Arson. My. You're right there, Dorothy. Look, I always remember, even the collegiate, that, I helped to save in Shaw Street. And that was awesome. That was awesome. Tingwall. Think about that. Awesome. Dorothy.
Yeah. Southport Pier yesterday or this morning.
What?
Southport Pier set on fire.
Everything is deliberate, isn't it? Everything. Anthony, I'll have to finish.
No worries, Frank.
I'm really tired. I'm just knackered.
Get your cup of tea, get a good night's sleep. I'll speak to you about lunchtime tomorrow.
Thing is, as soon as I sit down in there, I'll just drop off. I know that. I don't even go like that. I just find myself gone. And I wake up.
Get a crisp butty.
Crisp butty. My two brothers were collegiate. Oh, go away, collegiate boys, yeah. Well, if they're still going, tell them that I saved it. Or it would have been gone forever. Leonard Rossiter, Brian LeBone, the great Everton player.
Yeah.
I'll try and get through these. Oh, lovely Bella. Buonanotte, Franco and Anthony and everyone. Bit tired. Great night. Thank you. Bella's not. She's still lying down. There's Bella. But I say two prayers every night, Bella, and one of them, well, the both of them are for you, besides everyone on here. Always say it. Two little prayers.
Good night, Bella.
Peace, Poppy. Thanks, Frank and Anthony. Thank you, Peace.
Thank you, Peach.
Isn't that lovely? What a lovely name as well. Freedom Journey. Good night. God bless Frank and Anthony in chat. Isn't that lovely? Thank you.
Thanks, Freedom. Straight back to you.
George said, good night, Frank and Anthony. Have a restful sleep. Thank you, George. Thank you for those pictures as well.
Wonderful, George.
That was wonderful. Wonderful. I wish I could have gone on about more about it, but I'm so bloody tired. It's mad. Chris Butty.
There you go. Words of wisdom, Peter.
Potato, cheese and onion are the best, says Simon. I only like plain. Deadly salted. And I do have them, honestly. I've got one packet left for me breakfast tomorrow. I haven't done a butty.
Wow.
And Toscana. Grazie, Franco and Anthony and chat. Thank you for a very enjoyable history. I get some grappa in a shot of espresso and you'll be out like a light. I'll have to get the grappa in.
Toscana.
And the espresso, yeah. Oh, jeez.
Ambidextrous.
Ambidextrous. Thanks, Frank and Anthony. Good night, sir. She's a moderator.
Good night. All the best.
Peace, Poppy. Good night. God bless everyone. Thank you.
Right back to you, Peach. Thank you. Good night. God bless.
Rest while you're tired, Frank, says Christian.
Yeah.
I have to. And sorry I missed most of the show. Night, guys. And thanks for the moderator nomination. Yes.
Thanks, Simon.
Yes. Yes, of course, Simon.
It's a big debate now with all us guys.
Yeah. And Peter Brown, anyone who has a crisp butty for breakfast is a legend. I don't dine that. I do, honestly. I have a crisp butty for my breakfast. Francine said to me, why'd you do that, Dad? I said, well, it's quick. It's quick. And Peace says, right, I'm going to rest my eyes, as my mother would say. Oh, thank you, Peace. Peace, Poppy, I love your name, honestly. Really love your name. And Bella, thank you, Frank, for the praise. God bless you. Always, you and Anthony and everybody. And on that super
note.
Yeah, thank you so much. And as our Italian lovely Bella would say, mille grazie. Mille grazie a tutti. I just want to thank Anthony. Anthony, thank you so much.
Frank, thank you. Once again, it's a sheer pleasure to be on with you and all the wonderful guys.
Wonderful people.
Absolutely.
And I just got to thank Gap Patent Services for sponsoring the Frank Carlyle podcasts everywhere. So don't forget, get them in. If you're an NHS worker, an elderly person, or elderly couple, whatever, get them in. You get a special discount, and they're fully time served, these lads, fully insured. And TW. Thank you, Frank and Anthony.
Thank you, TW.
You have to thank Jason, don't we, Anthony?
Absolutely. He's up right in the middle of us, although you can't see him.
Oh.
But yeah.
And you know what? Who do we have to thank most?
Well, the biggest thanks go to, other than Andy and the team, Gap Patent, goes to our beautiful chat family.
Exactly.
Family.
Exactly.
I'm blessed to have them.
And she says, meant to say, for the prayers every night, say prayers.
Yeah.
And on that wonderful note, it's a massive, hang on, I think Jason's sending me a message. It could be to say, we're doing no more shows. You know what he's like. I have to fight him every night. We're doing no more shows, and I have to beg him on things. Not easy, this. Jason said, he said, as an email from the town and city planners, they said, thank F. Frank Carlyle can't walk anywhere at the moment.
Well, we'll get a supermarket trolley. We'll be there.
Push me around. Oh, thank you, people. Thanks, Sergey. Cheers, mate. I might give you the ring within the hour, Anthony. I'll tell you what was said about me. Okay, and I'm going to shock you.
See how you get on. We've got all day tomorrow as well to talk about.
I know. Yeah. But I think you need to know. Okay.
Okay.
God blame me. Where's the fucking mic now? Listen, people, thank you so much. I'm sorry that I was going. I was really dropping. Bloody hell, I've just feel okay now. But anyway, I've got football tomorrow. I've got the history. I love my history and the history of literature that Anthony and I do on a Wednesday. I hope to see some of you then. Hope to see some of you tomorrow. And it's brilliant. It's really brilliant. And don't forget the current affairs on Fridays and film and TV review on the Saturday morning, where everything goes on that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Good night and God bless everybody.
Thank you all. Thank you.